भूतले
श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता
श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांता
स्वामिन् इति नामिने
स्वामिन्निति नामिने
नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे
नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे
गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे
निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी
निर्विशेष शून्यवादी
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे
पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
प्रभु नित्यानंद
प्रभु नित्यानंद
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
श्री अद्वैत गदाधर
श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद
श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंदा
हरे कृष्णा
हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण
कृष्णा हरे हरे
कृष्ण हरे हरे
हरे राम
हरे राम
राम राम हरे हरे.
राम राम हरे हरे.
So today we will be discussing about the jnani aspect of the service. How jnani or why jnani is the best. In the last verse, Krishna spoke about the importance of surrendering unto him. If you have to come out of maya, mam eva ye prapadyante mayam etam tarantite. Prapadyante means to surrender. So for those who surrender unto him can easily cross over this maya. Now based on this aspect of surrender, now who surrenders to the Lord, who doesn't surrender to the Lord, and who surrenders with conditions, who surrender to demigods, like that various aspects Krishna is going to discuss from now onwards. So in this specific verse, about 15th verse, Krishna talks about 4 categories of people who doesn't surrender to Krishna. So you can recite this verse. Namam dushkrutino moodaha
Namam duskritino moodaha
prapadyante naradamaha
prapadyante naradamaha
mayaya apahrita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha
asuram bhavam ashritaha.
Namam dushkrutino
moodaha
prapadyante naradamaha mayaya apahrita jnana asuram bhavam ashritaha. So namam dushkritino moodaha, those who are dushkritinas, those who are miscreants, they are moodaha, they are foolish. Prapadyante means they do not surrender to mooda naradamaha, those who are lowest among the mankind. Maya apahrita jnanaha, whose knowledge has been stolen by illusion. Asuram bhavam ashritaha, those who are in the atheistic form of nature, atheistic nature of demons. These 4 categories of people who are considered as dushkritinas, miscreants, na prapadyante, they do not surrender to the Lord. So those miscreants who are grossly foolish, namam dushkritino moodaha, who are lowest among mankind, prapadyante naradamaha, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, maya apahrita jnanaha, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, asurim bhavam ashritaha, do not surrender unto me, na prapadyante. So this is what Krishna is saying. These 4 categories of people, they do not surrender to the Lord. Now in elaboration, who are these dushkritinas? What are their specific qualities were spoken by Prabhupada in the purport. It's an elaborate purport. So contacting from the last verse, how one can conquer the modes of material nature. The solution offered by Bhagavad Gita is simply surrendering oneself to the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord Krishna. So this is what the solution what we got from 7.14. Now, then why do educated people, they do not surrender to Krishna? What is that thing that is it an inhibition, or is it holding them back? What is that subject, or what is that point which is holding them back in surrendering to the Lord? Because they pose themselves as educated for material gain. They do not accept the plan or path of the Lord. First, they have no idea about Lord or God. They simply manufacture their own worldly plans because they are all on mental speculation. The result of all these things is they complicate the problems of material existence in their vain attempts to solve them. Because unless you are surrendered to the Lord and accept His guidance, any solution to any problem, whatever they find out, will only cause future problems because it is not taking into the holistic picture of the plan of the Lord. That's why all the solutions to their problems are all futile attempts. So that is what it is said here. Vain attempts means they're simply wasting their endeavors. Okay. Now, who are these Dushkritinas, miscreants? So they are atheistic plan makers. Means they are plan makers, but they are atheistic, who do not believe in God. With their intelligence and efforts being misdirected because the whole material nature is under the guidance of the Lord. And these people are trying to go beyond the direction of the Lord. That's why it is misdirected. They improperly utilize their brain in opposing the plan of the Supreme Lord. This is what the earlier points are. And there are 4 categories. The first one is,
Video. Do you believe in God?
No,
Do you?
I do.
You do.
Yeah.
That's a tough question actually. I don't really.
I don't believe in going to mandirs and all, but I really believe from inside that there is someone because I do pray a lot.
I'm one of those people who require evidence, you know, the whole deal, right?
I believe that there is one part, but specifically it's not God.
Do you guys believe in God?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Do you believe in God? See, I believe in the concept that we as humans, we believe in something which is as a higher power. When something doesn't happen, we believe in something that there is another higher power which interacts and makes us do work, whether it is subconsciously or whether it is consciously. So I believe in that fact.
I believe in God because whatever you do something good happens to you. You do something bad happens to you. So there's definitely some supernatural power.
God is God. God is God.
God is God. So what does God mean to you?
My parents.
God mean to me.
It's a word. It's a word. Just a word, and it ends there.
Yes, it is a word made by people.
God is something which we can't see but feel around us. Like in every small things we do or we see.
God is dark energy.
Dark energy.
Specifically, I'm a gaming freak. They gifted me a PS4, so I'll thank my parents a lot, and thanks for giving me such good education. They never were biased. I have a brother too, and they treated us equally. They supported us in every odds.
My definition is anything supernatural that you think might have an influence on the way you live your life and a force that you may or may not be able to manipulate in any manner.
All I have experienced is karma. Like I've seen friends or people who have done bad to me and
They get paid.
yeah, they get paid.
Okay, there might be some power above us, but frankly, I believe in.
oh, this is what modern day
Video.
understanding.
Do you believe in God?
So this is what the modern day people with education, they say they have no idea about God. So they do not know how this material energy works. Because Maya, Mama Maya Duratya, my energy, which is under the complete control of the Lord. In the 9th chapter, 10th sloka, Krishna says, this material nature is completely under my control. Maya Dyakshena Prakriti, under my direction, it is completely working. And it has no independent authority, but it is very powerful. Suyate sacharacharam, etunanena kaunteya, jagat viparivartate. So, analogy is just like a shadow, which moves according to the object. But atheists, due to their godless temperament, they cannot know how it works, nor can they know the plan of the Lord. So, under illusion and modes of passion and ignorance, all their plans are baffled. For example, Hiranyakashipu. Ravana wanted to build a staircase directly to heaven, but it is all baffled. Hiranyakashipu also, he wanted to control the entire world, but he is also ripped apart by the Lord. So these things we have to be very careful, because the Maya, which is under the, which is one of the energies of the Lord, which her duty is to see that nobody goes and disturbs the Lord directly. She thoroughly checks everyone. So that's why she is doing a thankless job. Now, to understand who are these four categories of people, one is that Naradama, lowest of the mankind. There are three categories. One is mostly civilized, uncivilized. Then there are people who are civilized humans with regulated principles of social, political, and religious life. Then there are others, some who are socially and politically developed, but who have no religious principles, must be considered as Naradamas, all these categories. Then what is the purpose of following the religious principles? They know that the supreme truth and the man's relationship with him. To know the supreme truth and the man's relationship with the Lord. Civilized form is meant to revive the lost consciousness of his eternal relationship with the supreme truth. Because that's where we get trained. That's where this it is like a guidance. It is like a practical lesson how one has to lead in this material world. It is like a manual for this human form of life. Whoever is losing this chance is classified as Naradama. He is wasting his opportunity. So according to Bhagavatam in the 3rd canto, there is one specific chapter in Sankhya philosophy by Kapila Muni, where he says, the baby in the womb prays to God for deliverance and promises to worship him alone as soon as he gets out. The 3rd canto, 30th chapter, I think, roughly, this is the subject. But after deliverance, he forgets the difficulties of birth and his deliverer also being influenced by Maya. So he gets lost. As soon as the baby comes out, he starts identifying that he is this body, and people start enforcing, oh, you are son of so-and-so, you are supposed to do so-and-so. And all over that Maya relationship with this material world is enhanced by all the people surrounding us. Now, what is the duty of the guardians is to revive the divine consciousness which is dormant in them. So by following the principles of these Dashavida samskaras, which are enjoined in Manusmriti, which are all meant for the purification, both body, mind, consciousness. But 99% of the population are Naradamas due to lack of Varnashrama system and purificatory samskaras, especially in this Kali Yuga. The result of that, the effect of that is all their education becomes null and void because samskara is not there, character is not there. The more educated, the more a demoniac person he will be, the more dangerous he will be. So is there any hope for this category of people? Only by the mercy of the devotee, pure devotees like Prabhupada, or else there is no opportunity for these people to come beyond their position. Okay, next level of people. Then Lord Chaitanya's recommendation, people can submissively hear the messages of Supreme Lord like Bhagavad Gita, but unfortunately they deny oral reception and neglect the prime duty of the human form of life, that is to surrender to the Supreme Lord. Then the next category, they are known as Maya Apahrita Jnana, whose erudite knowledge has been nullified by the influence of illusory material energy Maya. So they are elaborated as they are mostly very learned scholars, but illusory energy misguides them and they disobey the Supreme Lord. They deride the personality of the Lord and consider him merely another human being. This is a sloka again in 9th chapter, which Krishna says in the 11th sloka. Avajananti ma mudaha manushim tanumashritam. That category of people, again, Prabhupada is referring to them. They do not know that the blessed form of human life is designed after transcendental future of the Lord. Because we are, like even in Bible, it says man is made in the image of the Lord. So Lord had 2 hands, that's why we have 2 hands. So whatever qualities are there in the Lord are there within us. But only thing is, since we are a reflection, we hold only a minute percentage. And these people, they even comment on Bhagavad Gita with unauthorized interpretations which are beyond parampara conclusions. And since they do not surrender, their interpretations also encourage people, for those who follow them, not to surrender. This is the unfortunate situation. They do not surrender, they do not encourage others to surrender. So some of the definitions of who is agnostic and who is an atheist. Agnostic person who neither believes nor disbelieves in a higher power, means they are in confusion. Atheist is a person who flatly says there is no God or any higher power. So some people like, I only know one God and that's me. Non-believers on the meaning of life. Then there is one more category called as Moodas, who are foolish hard-working beasts of burden compared to us. They want to enjoy the fruits of their own labor and do not want to partake with the Supreme, because any result what we get is by the mercy of the Lord, is by the sanction of the Lord. So it is our duty to share our result with karma phala with the Lord. So they are compared to ass, which sings poetry and philosophy, but this braying only disturbs other people. So they do not know whom he should work and do not know what karma, that karma is meant for yajna. This is all the topics which are spoken in 3rd chapter, 4th chapter and all. So what do? They work day and night to clear the burden of self-created duties. They think material gains are life's all in all, even though they enjoy only a small fraction of the fruit of labor. They are simply absorbed in working hard day and night for the benefit of illusory masters, even at the risk of spoiling their health. And they have no time to hear about the transcendental literature. Nor do they surrender, nor do they take time to hear of the Lord from the proper sources. So analogy is given of pigs who are interested in eating stool, not caring for the sweetmeats and all, but untiringly continue to hear about mundane, sense-enjoyable subjects, which are flickering mundane force, which only creates a disturbance in their mind, create anxiety, create unwanted things, the things what they hear. Like Stephen Hawking, he said there is no God. Here is why. Copley Medal from the Royal Society, the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Russian Special Fundamental Physics Prize. By all these things, he was thinking that he is beyond the laws of God, that he can start commenting that there is no God because he is compared as the best scientist. Like, how could you ask me to believe in God when there is absolutely no evidence that I can see? I do believe in the beauty and the awe-inspiring mystery of the science that's out there that we haven't discovered yet, and that there are scientific explanations for phenomena that we can call mystical because we don't know any better. So all these people, they simply quote, but they don't know that real subject. Then the 4th category of people who are asirim bhavam ashrita, those who are of demoniac principles. So they are openly atheistic and argue that the Supreme Lord can never descend into this material world. They are unable to give any tangible reason why Lord could not come here. And they also make that Lord subordinate to the impersonal future. They present a number of illicit incarnations manufactured in their brain. They say any person can become God. They manufacture gods. And such persons, whose very principle is to decry the Lord, can never surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. So Yamunacharya, one of the great Acharya, he comments upon these people by saying to their unfortunate situation, he says, you are unknowable to persons involved with atheistic principles. So Krishna's uncommon features, qualities and activities, the Lord's personality being confirmed by all Vedic revealed scriptures to be in the mode of goodness, acknowledged by famous authorities on the transcendental science. So he quotes a sloka and he explains about the position of the Lord, but unfortunately atheistic people can never come to these conclusions. So some of the things, how people talk, various things. Some people say there is no God. Some people say sex is spirituality. Like that, inside many things they have brought about their mental concoctions and destroyed the culture of Vedic knowledge, which is affecting the future generations. But there is one facility when Krishna is giving an opportunity to revive. So now next category of people who surrender but on condition. Now in the last verse we saw 4 people who do not surrender to the Lord. Now here 4 categories of people who surrender but on condition. So all of you can recite this verse. Chaturvida bhajante mam. Jana sukritino arjuna. Arto jignashirartarti. Jnani cha bharatashrava. Chaturvida bhajante mam.
Chaturvida bhajante mam.
Jana sukritino arjuna.
Jana sukritino arjuna.
Artho jignashirartarthi
Arto Jitnasur Attati
Jnani cha bharatashava.
Jnanescha Bharatar Sabha.
So, Chaturvida bhajante mam. So, there are 4 categories of people who surrender to the Lord, who engage in devotional service. Jana, Sukritino, Arjuna. Who Arjuna? They are all pious people. And who are these? Artaha, those who are distressed. Jignashuhu, those who are inquisitive. Artharthi, those who are in financial requirement. Jnani, those who are knowledgeable. O Bharatarshava, or descendant of Bharata. So, best among the Bharatas, or Bharatashrava, 4 kinds of pious men, Chaturvida, begin to render devotional service unto me. Chaturvida bhajante mam. Janaha Sukritinaha. This is Sukriti means pious people. So they are the distressed, Artho, the desirer of wealth, Artharthi, the inquisitive, Jignashuhu, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute, Jnani. So, sorry. So, the definition of, see, there we saw the definition of Dushkritina, here the definition of Sukritina, pious people. They are adherents of the regulative principles of the scriptures, who obey the rules and regulations of the scriptures, and more or less devoted to the Supreme Lord. They are defined as Sukritina. Now, the 4 kinds of Sukritinas are Artho, example is Gajendra in distress, Artharthi in desire of material gain, Dhruva, Jignashuhu, Shaunaka, Jnani, Shukadeva. So, are the 4 kinds of pious men pure devotees? They are not yet pure devotees. They come to the Supreme Lord under different conditions. They have some aspirations to fulfill in exchange for devotion service. But if they continue the process, they will become pure devotees. So, example, Artharthi, Gajendra in distress, inviting the Lord. Dhruva, for want of a kingdom, prayed to the Lord, meditated upon the Lord. Jignashuhu, then Shaunaka, the rishis, they inquired from the thing. Jnani, Parikshit Maharaj and Shukadeva Goswami. In that way, they have come to the conclusion about the devotion service to the Lord. But they have material bargains in with respect to their devotion service. Now, what is the definition of pure devotion service according to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? Anya abhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulyena Krishna anushilanam bhakti ruttama. So, anya abhilashita shunyam, without any personal desire, jnana karmadi anavritam, free from material profit or gain through fruitive activities or philosophical speculation. Anukulyena Krishna anushilanam. Anukulyena, favorably engaging in devotion service to the Lord. When you engage, Bhakti Ruttama, it is considered as the best devotional service. So then how can the Sukritina become pure devotees? When they engage in devotion service and completely purified by the association of other pure devotees. And they are free from all material desires and hankerings. They understand that the material remuneration has nothing to do with spiritual improvement. So if these things come, then they come to the standard of pure devotees. So is there any hope for miscreants to become pure devotees? Yes, devotional service is very difficult because their lives are commonly these miscreants, Dushkritina, they are all engaged in selfish, irregular and without spiritual goals. But by chance, if they come in contact with pure devotees, they can also become pure devotees. Like it is a person, an iron rod in touch with fire. For a period of time, it also develops the fiery quality. So similarly, when we come in touch with pure devotees, we develop that devotional quality within us also. So Prabhupada in one lecture explains. He is pious, he is distressed, and at the same time he is foolish. Because he does not know that God is with me, dwelling within my heart, and God knows everything about me. So I need not pray to God to get me out of this distress. Because he knows everything. When you pray, ask for surrender to God, pray to glorify God, and know his greatness, but not pray for selfish interests. For example, for food. A pure devotee does not pray to God for any personal interest. Even if he is distressed, he says, "O Lord, it is your kindness. You have put me in distress just to rectify me. I should have many more trials, but you are giving me few. That is your great mercy." That is his vision. A pure devotee is not disturbed. A person who is in Krishna consciousness does not care for all this mundane material distress, either insult or honor, because he is aloof from all. He is not identifying with the body. He knows very well that the designation, this honor or insult pertains to my body, because I am not this body. Because he believed in immortality of the soul, Socrates was condemned to death and he was asked to take hemlock. The judge asked Socrates, "How do you want to be put into grave?" He replied, "First of all, you catch me, then you can put me into the grave." So one who is completely conversant with Krishna, Krishna science, knows very well, I am not this body, I am part and parcel of Krishna, my eternal relationship with this Krishna. So this is a story what we came across in Ramayana about Valmiki. So many people have this confusion. They think that Valmiki was a hunter by birth, but actually Valmiki was never a hunter by birth. He was, in his earlier life, he was known as Ratnakara. He was a son of a sage called as Prachetasa. At very young age, one day Ratnakara went into forest and he got lost. At the time, one hunter who was passing by, he saw Ratnakara and took him under his own care. So under the love and care of the foster parents, Ratnakara forgot his original position and his parents. So under the guidance of that hunter as father, Ratnakara, he turned out to be an excellent hunter. As he approached marriageable age, he was married to a beautiful girl from hunter's family. And he started, as his family grew larger, Ratnakara found it next to impossible to feed them. So as a result, he had to engage in robbery, began looting people who are passing by through the forest from one village to another. So one day, he came across a great sage Narada who was crossing the jungle, and he attacked Narada. So Narada played his veena and sang praises of the Lord. Because of this, he saw a transformation coming over Ratnakara. He asked Ratnakara whether his family or for whom he was robbing others will partake in his sins. Then Ratnakara said, "I don't know, I'll have to go and check." He went back to his family and he started questioning them that, "Would you like to partake of the sin, what I am involving in, robbing, killing, all these things and all?" So the family member said, "It is your responsibility, we are not bothered for it. We do not partake any of your sinful reactions." So on being refused by the family, he went back to sage Narada. Then Narada taught to him the holy name of Lord Ramachandra and asked him to sit for meditation, chanting the holy name till Narada comes back. So Ratnakara followed these instructions and kept sitting in a meditative posture for years, during which his body was completely covered by an anthill. So finally, when Narada came to see him, then he removed the anthill from his body. Then he told Ratnakara that his tapasya has paid off and Lord was very much pleased with him. Then Ratnakara was bestowed with the honor of Brahma Rishi and given the name Valmiki, since he was reborn from the anthill. That's why he is known as Valmiki. Then he found his ashram on the bank of river Ganga. Somewhere it is says in the Nepal part is the Valmiki ashrama, where Sita Devi stayed and Lavakusha had born there, and Ramayana was compiled there. So which is near Janakpuri, somewhere is this Valmiki ashrama. So we can understand what the situation is, how the transformation happens even from the grossest ignorance by the touch of a pure devotee, and one has to engage in tapasya for that purpose. Tapasya brahmacharyena, samena cha damena cha, tyagena satya sautabhyam, yamena niyamena. This is the principles how one has to practice to become purified. So now people may say these four categories of jnanis, you have four categories of jnanis you have mentioned. So who is the best in this four? So for that purpose, Krishna is further reciting. All of you can repeat after me. Tesham jnani nityayukta,
Desham jnani nityayukta,
eka bhaktir vishishyate,
एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते
प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनो अत्यर्थम्
प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनो अत्यर्थम्
अहं स च मम प्रियः
अहं स च मां प्रियः
तेषां ज्ञानि नित्ययुक्ता
तेषां ज्ञाने नित्ययुक्ता
एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते
एकभक्तिर्विशिष्यते
प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनो अत्यर्थम्
प्रियो हि ज्ञानिनो अत्यर्थम्
अहं स च मम प्रियः
अहं स च मम प्रियः
Now Krishna is comparing of the four, Jnani is the best. On what considerations why he is saying Tesham of the four, Jnani is the one who is knowledgeable, Nitya Yuktaha, he is always engaged, Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate, with one pointed attention, he is the best. Priyohi Jnanino Atyartham, of all the four, Jnani is the very dear to me, and Aham Sacha Mama Priyaha, I am very dear to him and he is very dear to me. So of this Tesham, the one who is in full knowledge, Jnani Nitya Yuktaha, and who is always engaged in pure devotion service, Eka Bhaktir is the best, Vishishyate. For I am very dear to him, Priyohi Jnanino Atyartham, and he is dear to me. Aham Sacha Mama Priya. So why Jnani is the best among the four? Because one who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and one who is free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. Of the four, the devotee who is in full knowledge and at the same time engaged in devotional service, the Lord says is the best. Why he is saying is the best? Because those who are in distress, when their distress is mitigated, they may not think of the Lord because their problem is solved. Those who are having financial problem, when their problem is solved, they do not again think of the Lord. And those who are inquisitive, when his inquisitiveness is cleared, he will not show any interest in the Lord. But Jnani, because of his knowledge, he continues to engage in devotion service. That's why he is the best. Then he who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence of the Lord is so protected in devotion service that material contamination cannot touch him. Because the devotion service is so pure that Maya has no impact upon the devotee. His consciousness basically. And by association with pure devotees, the inquisitive, the distressed, and the seeker of material amelioration and the man in knowledge all become pure themselves, but it takes time. But this is possible because the association of the pure devotees is the prime cause. But in the preparatory stage, the man who is in full knowledge and is at the same time executing devotion service is very dear to the Lord of the best of the four. The Prabhupada explains in one lecture, without being elevated to the position of a Jnani, one cannot stick to devotion service. A Jnani has realized that he is spirit soul and that Krishna is the supreme spirit. Therefore, he makes his relationship with Krishna and not with the body. So some of the famous Jnanis across the country. Then next verse. So do you think other three people are useless? They have no credit? So Krishna is saying no, they are also comfortable. They are also in a good position. So he, not to discourage the other three people, Krishna speaks this verse. All of you can recite. I request all of you can recite this verse so that we get to practice the Krishna's instruction and we get to understand the words. Udara sarva evaite
Udaraha sarva evaite
Jnani tu atmaiva me matam
Jnani tu
atma me
atmamatam
matam
Astita sahi yuktatma
Astitaha sahi
sahi
uttatma
atma
Mam evan uttamam gatim
mama
Ivanuttamam
gatim
Udara sarva evaite
udara sarva evaite
Jnani tu atmaiva me matam
jnani tu atmaiva me matam
sahi yuktatma
Astita sahi uttatma
sahi uttatma
Mam evan uttamam gatim.
mam
Ivanuttamam gatim.
evanuttamam gatim.
So here Krishna is saying Udaraha, they are all magnanimous. Sarva evaite. All these four categories of people are magnanimous. Because Jnani tu Atmaiva me matam, but Jnani is very dear to the Lord. Astita sahi yuktatma, because Mam evan uttamam gatim, because being engaged in devotional service, he attains me uttamam gatim. Astitaha sahi yuktatma, he thinks that I am dwelling within the body. So, because he engages in that mode, he is able to attain the supreme destination. So Krishna is saying, all these devotees are undoubtedly magnanimous. Udaraha sarva evaite. But he who is situated in knowledge of me, Jnani tu Atmaiva me matam, I consider to be just like my own self. Atmaiva me matam, he is equivalent to myself. Being engaged in my transcendental service, Astita sahi yuktatma, he is sure to attain me the highest and most perfect goal. Mam evan uttamam gati. So it is not that other devotees are less complete in knowledge or not dear to the Lord, because all are magnanimous, because anyone who comes to the shelter of the Lord is known as a Mahatma. But devotees who want some benefit out of devotional service are accepted by the Lord because there is an exchange of affection. Out of affection, they ask the Lord for some material benefit, and when they get it, they become so satisfied, they also advance in devotional service. Why the devotee in full knowledge is considered very dear to the Lord? Because his only purpose is to serve the Lord with love and devotion. He cannot live without a second without contacting or serving the Lord. And similarly, Lord is very fond of his devotee and cannot be separated from him. There is a shloka in the ninth canto where Lord says, Aham Bhakti Paradino, Aham Bhakta Paradino. He Aswatantra Iva Dvija, Sadhubir Grasta Hrudayo, Bhakter Bhakta Janapriyaha. This is a shloka in context with Durvasa Muni fighting with Ambarish Maharaj. So Durvasa Muni was chased by Sudarshan Chakra, and Durvasa Muni runs everywhere. He finally takes shelter of the Supreme Lord in Vaikunta. There Lord says, Aham Bhakta Paradino. I am completely under the control of my devotees. Nahi Aswatantra Iva Dvijaha. Oh Dvija, oh my dear Brahmana, I am Aswatantra. I am not independent. Sadhubir Grasta Hrudayo, I stay within their hearts. Bhakter Bhakta Janapriyaha. And I cannot forget them, and the devotees do not know anything beyond me. So this is a very intimate relationship between the Lord and the pure devotees, because this is the nature how they engage in devotion service. And Lord says, I am under the complete control of my devotee. I am not independent. So Krishna, in one lecture, Prabhupada says, in one place, Krishna says, if one engages in my transcendental loving service, but at the same time wants the opulence of material enjoyment, he is merely a foolish man. Since I am very intelligent, why should I give him this full material prosperity? Instead, I shall induce him to take the nectar of the shelter of my lotus feet and make him forget illusory material enjoyment. So this is the compassion of the Lord. When we go and ask for something which is poisonous, Lord doesn't sanction it because it is poisonous to us. And rather, he will force us to engage in his shelter and give us the shelter at his lotus feet. So one more place it says, Naham Atmanam Asase Mad Bhakter Sadhubir Vina Shriyam Chatyantikim Brahman Yesham Gatir Aham Para. O best of the Brahmanas, without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination. Mad Bhakter Sadhubir Vina Naham Atmanam Asase. I do not desire to enjoy without my devotees' association. Shriyam cha atyantikam Brahman esham gatir aham para. I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental and my supreme opulences. Shriyam cha atyantikam, the supreme opulences. Na asashe, I do not desire. So mat bhakte sadhubir vina, without my association of the devotees, yesham gatir aham para, whom I am the only destination. The Lord is saying without devotees he cannot enjoy. So similarly, one more place in Uddhava Gita, Krishna says, Na tatame priyatama atma yonir na shankaraha. Nobody is as dear to me as Brahma or Shankaraha, na cha sankarshanaha, na shrir, na evatma cha yata bhavan. As Sankarshana or as Lakshmi or even my own self as my dear devotees. So in that way, Lord is giving more priority for his devotees than his own personal men. So one good opportunity for us is these 4 sampradayas which are officially recognized as Vaishnava sampradayas. One starting from Brahma, starting from Lord Shiva, Rudra Sampradaya, Shri, Lakshmi Devi, Sri Sampradaya, and Kumaras, Kumara Sampradaya. The prominent acharyas in the paramparas have been mentioned here. So the last conclusion about this jnanis, Krishna is saying, why jnani is the best? All of you can recite this verse. Bahunam janmanamante
Bahunam janmanamante
jnanavan mam prapadyate
jnanavan ma prapadyate
Vasudeva sarvamiti
Vasudeva sarvamiti
sa mahatma sudurlabha
sa mahatma sudurlabha
bahunam janmanamante
Bahunam janmanamante
jnanavan mam prapadyate
jnanavan ma prapadyate
Vasudeva sarvamiti
Vasudeva sarvamiti
sa mahatma sudurlabha
sa mahatma sadurlabha
bahunam janmanamante. After many lifetimes, jnanavan mam prapadyate. A person who is knowledgeable surrenders unto the Lord. See, same word prapadyate, surrender, which he started in the 14th verse. It is continuing. And he comes to the conclusion, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Vasudeva is the Supreme Lord. He is Vasudeva is the cause of everything, Sarvamiti. Sa Mahatma, such great soul, Sudurlabha is very rare. So after many births and deaths, Bahunam Janmanamante, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. Jnanavan mam prapadyate. Knowing me to be the cause of all causes, Vasudeva Sarvamiti, and all that is, such a great soul is very rare. Sa Mahatma Sudurlabha. So why Jnani is the best among the 4? So one who is in knowledge of the absolute truth and free from all material desires becomes a really pure devotee of the Lord. And of the 4, the devotee who is in full knowledge, same time engaged in devotion service, the Lord says best. He who is situated in pure knowledge of the transcendence, he is so protected in devotional service that material contamination cannot touch him. Those inquisitive, those distressed, they all become pure themselves. But I think this slide has got repeated. But the preparatory stage, the full knowledge of the Supreme Lord and at the same time executing devotion service is very dear. So there was one consideration. Once devotee was asking, is showing miracles like some Swamis to the way to bring people back to spiritual life, showing magics and miracles? Prabhupada, when he was asked, Prabhupada said, why should I show miracles? What is this business? I have to speak the truth, that's all. What is the use of a miracle? When you go to college or school, we want to see miracles or you learn books of knowledge. Krishna never said that you go to a guru who can perform miracles. He never said that. He said, Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Go to a jnani who has known the truth. Upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninaha tattvadarshinaha. Not to a juggler, magician. Science is not magic. Science is knowledge. And that is the Vedic injunction. Tat vijnanartham. In order to understand that science, not to see jugglery and magic. The jugglery and magic is here. He is here present. All these meat eaters, drunkards, women hunters, now Vaishnavas. This is real magic. If you have got eyes to see the magic. If you are blind, then that is different question. So this is magic. Transformation in person's character. How they were before coming in touch with Krishna consciousness. Now how they are. This is what Prabhupada is saying. This is what is the real magic. The touch of a pure devotee brings about that complete change in the qualities and aspects of the devotees. So we have seen this many times over a period of years. Now, how do we practice? How do we become perfect? And how do we take it further? So this is the whole perspective of entire this training in Krishna consciousness. So today's aspect we have understood. Now, how to take it further and how to make it perfect is for us to accept and implement it. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions, please? Okay, then thank you. If there are no questions, we will again meet next week and continue with the subject of further discussion. The next week's subject will be about, I think next week, next Sunday, we will not have the class because there is a festival and the main Abhishekam will happen in the temple. So it will be, that next week will be about Narasimha Jayanti. So it will be again on 22nd only. The session will be. The next 2 weeks, there will be no session. So the next week will be about the demigods and surrender to the demigods. This will be the topic. So thank you all of you. Again, we'll meet in the future class. Hare Krishna.